rig my redneck phone holder. There's my phone. I went out and got the mail. I got 3 packages and a letter from the something Amazon. So anyway, plugging along it, trying to get things done. I kind of thought by now I would have huge amounts of help, as in financial help, but such is not the case. And it's been offered several times, but offered and then rescinded, or not able to do it. One person said, when you met me, oh, anyway, who cares? Water under the bridge, spilt milk, all that good stuff. So something's not quite right, still not quite right here. Set that up a little bit more. That is not working like a pair of glasses, I'll tell you that. I don't remember the pair of glasses is. But a lot of money. That might work. Oh yeah, that's much better. Too heavy though. Move the clip up. Kind of. No, that just knocks it off. I'm working on it. Hang on. Hang on, zapped in kaboom. Nobody's here yet. Okay, so what? Who cares if anybody's here? Who cares if anybody's listening? Who cares if anybody cares? My friend just wrote me and a lot of evil speaking going on. A lot of Rosh Hashanah in the Old Testament. What was the curse of Ham? Why was Ham cursed? He saw his father's nakedness, Noah's nakedness. Why was he cursed? Possibly because he didn't do anything wrong, except for the fact that he told what he said was true. His father Noah was naked. He was drunk, and so evil speaking, even if it's true, you don't need to speak evil about people. And there's a lot of that going on. So okay, enough said on that. Subjecta. For the Magic Bicycle, chapter 8. The last chapter. Let me see. Yeah. Mr. Grimsby, not Grim, Grin, right? Grimsby offered to buy his Spirit Flyer. As if this one again, obviously there, and then went back to the police station. Okay, the words were hardly out of his uncle's mouth before the doorbell rang, and Betty answered it. Mrs. McCradle asked her why you left without saying a word, but I never got a chance to thank you. Here. John stood up. Mrs. McCradle handed him a large round cookie can. Hope you'd like chocolate chip, she said. It's my partial to chocolate. Yeah, butterscotch, yeah. Dark chocolate, better yet. Dark chocolate chip cookies, yeah. Okay, so I made these. I sure did. Well, I can't stay. Got too many people to visit. Haven't been able to get to town with the bridges out. Thanks again. Come out and ride Princess sometime. She's a little contrary, but basically a good horse. Good night, all. I can let myself out. Been doing 70s. Looked at him, but didn't speak. A moment later, Uncle Bill returned carrying 2 long white pieces of plaster. What's that? John asked, though he was afraid he knew. These are plaster casts of tracks, Uncle Bill said. Bicycle tracks, the same bicycle tracks as the tires on the Spirit Flyer. I made one of these out at McCradle's farm. I made the other with the Spirit Flyer. They are the same. Oh, John said. You did a very good thing, John, Aunt Betty said. But how did you get there? Uncle Bill asked. That's what we don't understand. You won't believe me, John whispered. Try me. I rode there on the Spirit Flyer, John said. He felt relieved to have the secret out. But the bridges were down, Uncle Bill protested. You were in the office at the same time I was. We left before you, and we took the shortest route to her house. It flies, John said weakly, then sighed. Or at least it used to fly. It stopped flying today. Sorry, my throat's a little bit wacky. Uncle Bill and Aunt Betty looked at each other. John watched them carefully. His uncle swallowed, then cleared his throat. John, I believe you helped Mrs. McCradle put out the fire, Uncle, as if he were trying to convince himself. Really, John asked. I thought for sure you'd think I was crazy when I told you that the Spirit. But I don't believe your bicycle flies, Uncle Bill added. His face went hard and determined. But how else could I have gotten there, John asked. He looked from his uncle's face to Aunt Betty's. She looked down, not meeting his gaze. There are laws in this world, Uncle Bill began patiently. Moral laws, civil laws, and scientific laws. As sheriff, I enforce civil laws. As a father and husband, I enforce moral laws in our home. But I don't have any control over scientific laws. Nature enforces them. It's against everything I know about science to say that a bicycle can fly. But how did I get to Mrs. McCradle's if I didn't fly? John Prost said. Did you think I'm lying? No, I don't think you're lying, Uncle Bill said slowly, but I think you have some imagination. You probably thought you flew, like we all pretend sometimes. Didn't you used to play with your toy tractors and spaceships and pretend that they were real tractors and spaceships? Yes, John admitted, but I know. I remember when you were younger, his uncle continued, how you used to have me push you on the swing in the park. You used to say you were flying then. Do you remember calling that the fly swing? Yes, but, well, I think that you rode your bicycle over to Mrs. McCradle's farm, Uncle Bill said, ignoring John's protests. I think you knew she needed help so much that you wanted to fly, but you pedaled very fast through the rain and the mud and got there ahead of us. You started the pump because you're a big enough boy to do that by yourself. And then you rode home. We somehow missed you along the road. Maybe you took a shortcut we didn't know about. Isn't that about the way it really happened? No, John said, it didn't happen like that at all. I know I pretend sometimes, but I wasn't pretending. How could I have gotten across the river if I was just pretending? A frown spread across Uncle Bill's face. I bet he looked at her husband, waiting just like John. You know how to swim, Uncle Bill said, shrugging his shoulders. But the water is 15 feet high, Uncle Bill, and you know how fast the current is when it floods. Well, there must have been a drop in the river for a while, Uncle Bill said. Flood waters drop. You probably arrived when the waters weren't so deep and swam across. But how could I swim with my bicycle, John asked. Look, Uncle Bill said angrily, let's just go into the garage right now and settle this. And we'll settle this. Uncle Bill stomped through the house and out into the garage. Seeing that the Spirit Flyer's tires were flat, he began pumping them up. He pumped so hard that John was almost afraid. There, Uncle Bill said, his face red. Now let's see it fly. I don't think it will now, John said slowly. I tried to tell you it stopped flying today. Well, that's certainly convenient, Uncle Bill said. First you tell me that it flies, then you say it doesn't. I don't understand it, but it stopped, John said. It just seemed to lose power. After you told me I couldn't be in the safety contest, I rode out of town and it flew a while, then it lost its power. I couldn't make it fly anymore. It sort of has a mind of its own. I can't force it to fly. I've even seen it move by itself with no one near it. What? Uncle Bill asked, looking even more doubtful. Well, I know this will sound crazy, but I stopped suddenly and made a skid mark, John said, but it wasn't really a skid mark. Well, I mean, it was a skid mark, but then it turned into this awful black snake, smoked and hissed. It smoked and hissed and was going to bite me. The Spirit Flyer rolled between me and the snake, and it bit the Spirit Flyer's back tire. The tire went flat, but when I fixed it, there weren't any holes. Then later, I kicked it, and both tires went flat. I was mad because it wouldn't fly. Oh, I see, said Bill, nodding his head, just like that. You don't believe me, John said. He wasn't surprised, but he began to feel more frustrated than ever. He didn't know which was worse. Having Uncle Bill think he was a liar or think he didn't know the difference between pretending and the truth. I believe what I see, Uncle Bill said, or what can be proved scientifically. Go ahead and try to make the bike fly. I'm willing to watch. But I don't think it will fly now, John said. He got on the Spirit Flyer without any hope. Uncle Bill opened the garage door. John pedaled out to the driveway, turning in a circle. Well, Uncle Bill said, his arm shoulder, does it grow wings or something? John pushed down on the handlebars. As he expected, nothing happened. The bike just rolled forward. John tried it again, then another time, then nothing happened. I guess that settled it, Uncle Bill said. You just let your imagination get carried away, that's all. Now let's go to bed. Uncle Bill turned to go into the house. John raced to catch up with him. John felt worse when he saw Susan, Catherine, Lois watching him from the door. Aunt Betty looked sad. But I'm telling you it flew, John protested, and it saved me from the black snake. Not only the one on the ground, but the big one. The one that spit lightning at me. At first I thought it was a big tornado. But it turned and round, and I saw it was a snake. It had red eyes and a white circled X on its throat. But the Spirit Flyer jerked me out of the way of lightning. That snake must have spitted at me the first time, too. But I didn't see it in the clouds. At the mention of the word tornado, Uncle Bill froze halfway to the door. When he turned around, his face had gone pale. He looked nervously at Aunt Betty. She seemed frightened. What did you say about a tornado and a snake, Uncle Bill asked. His voice cracked. I know you'll think I'm crazy or imagining this too, John said. But when I flew away from the McCradle's farm, I didn't want you to see me, so I flew straight up through the clouds. They're all white and fluffy on top once you get through the gray. Anyway, I saw a funnel cloud. At least I thought it was a funnel cloud. But then it turned around, and it was this huge black snake with red. Stop it, Uncle Bill shouted, putting his hands over his ears. I don't want to hear any more. John felt scared. He had never seen his uncle like this. Uncle Bill seemed afraid. Catherine, who had been watching with the rest of the girls, began to cry. You girls take Catherine inside, please, Aunt Betty said. Susan, seeing the serious expression on her mother's face, quickly took Lois and Catherine by the hand and led them inside. The silence in the garage lasted a long time. John was afraid to say anything else. It's time for bed, Uncle Bill said softly, as if he were exhausted. Let's just forget this whole thing. I don't want to hear any more about snakes, any more snake stories or flying bicycle stories or skid marks that turn into snake stories. The rain has stopped and is probably over. We'll forget the whole thing. Let's just go to bed. I think you inherited too much imagination from your father. I'm too tired to think anymore. I've got enough worries. Uncle Bill walked straight into the house without looking at John or Aunt Betty. John watched his uncle until he disappeared into the house. When he looked back to Aunt Betty, he was surprised down her cheek. I don't understand, John said. Is Uncle Bill mad at me? Did he want me to sell the Spirit Flyer to Mrs. Grinsby? I guess he thinks I'm crazy for not selling Anne because I said the Spirit Flyer flew. I don't know. I didn't really want that other bicycle. The Cobra reminded me too much of the snake I saw above the clouds, and the one was wrapped around the Spirit Flyer when I found it at the dump. There was another snake, Aunt Betty asked. John told her the whole story. John continued. I ran home and flew to her house like I said before. I don't think I imagined it. How could I have gotten across the river? I don't know, John, Aunt Betty said quietly. I don't understand a lot of things, just like you. I know that Uncle Bill isn't really mad at you. He loves you like his own son, but he is upset. Why? John asked. Well, because suddenly her eyes filled with tears again. John felt more confused. I think Uncle Bill will tell you when the time is right, or maybe you should talk to Grandfather Kramer. Grandfather Kramer lived on a farm about 250 miles north of Centerville. Every summer, John and Susan went to live with Grandfather and Grandmother Kramer for 2 or 3 weeks. They always had a great time helping with the chores, playing in the barn, riding the horse, and swimming in the creek. There's always something interesting to do at the farm. Grandfather Kramer knows many things, Aunt Betty said. John waited for an explanation. His aunt looked troubled. What kind of... Aunt Betty looked out into the... She bit her lip. Peanuts looking out into the darkness. But I don't understand, John said, puzzled by his aunt's words. Do you think I'm imagining things? I don't know what I think for sure, Aunt Betty said slowly, but I know things aren't always scientific. I mean, I believe things happen that maybe science doesn't know about yet. Things you can't prove or disprove. There aren't always clear explanations for things. You can say that again, John said, glad to know that his aunt didn't think he was crazy. I don't know how the Spirit Flyer flew or anything about those snakes. I just know it happened, that's all. Whether anyone else believes me or not, I know what happened. But at that instant, John felt a surge of doubt. It's time for bed, Aunt Betty said. We've had a long day, all of us. She fluffed from my father. His aunt stopped in the doorway. She stared straight ahead without saying a word. Did I say, Father? Now let's not talk about it anymore. Time for bed. And before John could ask anything else, Aunt Betty turned out the light and walked quickly into the house. John stood by the door thinking for 5 minutes, then walked quietly to his room. For a long time he didn't sleep. He but lay in the darkness, looking at the sink. Soon he was dreaming what he had dreamed before, but this time he remembered the dream. He was flying the Spirit Flyer high above the clouds. Black tornado snake rose up and opened its huge mouth. Without resisting, John flew the Spirit Flyer into the huge mouth, below the 2 red fangs. The darkness swallowed him, and he was afraid. He screamed for his father. Far off in the darkness, he thought he heard a voice answer. All right, there you go. That's it. I hope somebody listens to this. I don't know. Find out if anybody ever cares or says anything, and nobody's writing anything about it, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. I might just quit reading. I might just quit totally. I don't know. Seems like nobody cares, nobody's grateful, nobody's thankful. I don't know. This is what I'm feeling, I guess. I shouldn't feel that way, but I'm doing what I know God's given me to do. I'm just talking to myself, so pay me no attention. Nobody does anyway, so whatever. Hey, we got green, okay. Let's talk about something practicable. Come on. Come on, let's look. Band lights. I showed you before. These are great. That's a Cobb, chip on board, little computer technology thing. Let me see if I can get it to turn on without looking at it or feeling it. Should be that switch. Yep. Look at that sucker. Very bright. Turns night into day. About 130, 160 degrees of light it gives out. And it's also got a directional light. So get one of those. If you're leaving home, I don't care if it's 6 o'clock in the morning, even though it's bright, bring a light. Get LED lights and use them. Keep them with you at all times. It'll save your life someday. Aircore Walk-Away Cookery. I did a video on that. Look them up. I found something probably, maybe even better. Thermos brand. What do they call them? Shuttle pots. I think shuttle pots. I'll try to find the link and put it below that other video too. They're a stainless steel pot with a lid. Some of them have glass lid, some of them have stainless steel lid. So it's a stainless steel pot, which would qualify for Timothy's criteria. It has to be stainless steel. And then they have a vacuum sealed closing cooker that you, or insulating box you put it in, basically a tub. So you can bring your rice or whatever to boil or to temperature, put it in there, and they slow cook by itself. So I'm gonna try. I would really like to get one of those, but I just don't have the money right now, and I'll probably be a month or 2 or 3 months before I can do it. And I got how many other projects already? Stainless steel cooking apparatus for stealth camping, a fire ring, Mongolian hot pot, Turkish samovar, and Kelly kettle. I got 5 things already to unbox and show you. Some of them I can unbox. Some of them are boxes are kind of soggy from having been left out in the rain because I didn't have any place to put them. Anyway, we're going to be doing them someday, both with Timothy and Rock, to help out. But that's about it. But look at the Thermos brand. Well, I looked up a rice cooker. So it's Thermos brand stainless steel cooking pot. I looked up SS stainless steel rice cooker Thermos brand. And sometimes it pulls up, sometimes it doesn't. But look it up. You can find them on eBay. You can find them on Amazon. There's one on eBay I'd like to get. So don't buy it. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, well, God bless everybody. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.